What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripes Show. I was all ready to be very excited for this podcast after that eighth inning that the Yankees had off of Class A. And you know, Scott, this was if people have been listening to us talk about all these postseason games, you'll know I have not been impressed with just the general feeling of all of these games, and it's mainly because of the opponent. But genuinely, this game felt like a classic October high pressure back and forth game. And when Judge hit that home run off of Class A, who's been the most elite closer in the game this season.
Although he did have a blip to Detroit.
It's not
his first in the playoffs.
But like, that's as elite as a guy as you're going to run into.
Yep.
And Judge looked like he was kind of overmatched after those first couple pitches. He lined that ball out to right, and then Stanton followed up with a home run. I was feeling it after that. That was an awesome moment. And then to lose coming back on the other end is definitely a crushing loss. If they just lost this game, if Class A just shut the bats down for the final 5 outs, you could kind of just say, you know what, Cleveland was probably going to get one, and this is the one. Get them tomorrow. But this feels bad.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't going to say that. This was a sweep in your mind the whole time. But what happens is when you go to an opponent's ballpark and you get a little bit of momentum, now all of a sudden the Yankees are in a spot where the other team's feeling really good. Yeah. And they just scored a whole bunch of runs off of people they're not supposed to score runs off of. And
you can say the same thing for the Yankees, though. You can say the same thing for the Yankees.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. That's what they're supposed to do, right? They had a rookie come out and pinch hit and just hammer a ball.
Destroyed.
I mean, hammered a ball. I mean, talk about deflating. Holy shit. That was like emotional roller coaster. When Judge hit that home run, because let's start at the end because that's the story right now. When Judge hit that home run, my whole family went ballistic. It was, when he hit it off the bat, I was like, if that thing goes out,
I thought it was a line drive to the right fielder. I thought the right fielder was going to catch that thing.
Strength at that point, just pure strength. The fact that he was able to take that ball the opposite way and line it out, it just shows you how strong that man is. But yeah, it kept carrying and going, and then Stanton just walks up like a man and hits that shot too. You get the insurance run. You get the insurance run with
Glaber sack fly.
Glaber, and you're feeling really good going into that last inning. And unfortunately, Weaver just couldn't finish the job.
A leadoff error to start the ninth inning, and then you get the double play. The error. You're like, oh crap, error. Here we go, double play. Okay, and bailed out.
Talk about a smooth fielding double play.
Nice play, calm, cool, and collected.
He just reached down, picked the ball up, threw it to second perfectly, and completed the double play.
But then he did give up a rocket double off the left center field wall, and then a rocket home run.
Yes, he did.
So
fatigue
is definitely a factor with Weaver. Him and how much his work. I know he didn't pitch yesterday. Everyone was off yesterday, but still, he's throwing more high leverage innings more frequently than he ever has in his life. So that pitch to Noel was a hanging changeup, middle, batting practice fastball. That can only be a result of lack of execution, potentially just
You
fatigue.
go back to the first game. We talked about this in the first game. I remember asking when we were doing the show, how many pitches did he throw? Because he did, 5 outs in the first game?
But it was 24 pitches in the first game. It was like
18 or 19 in the second
game.
Yeah, day off, but then he's coming back in again, trying to get four more outs.
Yeah, he's done a lot of multiple
up and down.
Right. Even if it's not 2 full innings, pitching 4 or 5 outs, you've got to sit and then go back up because he looked good in the 8th inning again. Comes back out for the 9th, but again he comes back out for the 9th. And even before,
don't forget about the. I know it didn't mean anything, but he did give up that Ramirez home run as well. So
yeah, I mean that one. Hit. I know Ramirez hit the home run, but that's a Yankee Stadium home run. It was
not. He hit that ball hard. That ball was hit hard. That was not a Yankee Stadium home run. He hit that ball hard, and the last 2 times he had been squared up 3 solid times, the double and then the 2 home runs. So yeah, there's some element of something going on with him. Or you know what? It's just, human instinct when you're in the opponent's ballpark and a little pressure gets to you and you just don't execute a pitch. Like that shit happens. I know he's been like the darling, and I even tweeted out that I love the man right before he gave up the home run ball, right before it. And of course, yes, he has been. He's been the darling because he's been coming out and just absolutely lights out. He's been extremely good. He's a human being that has never closed before. And then the guy who blows all the saves, finishes it off.
Oh, Clay Holmes, yeah.
No, Clay
Julio
Holmes.
in our chat said this is for Andrew to finally feel something. I did feel something tonight. It wasn't a good feeling.
You need to stop with your fucking narrative. It's getting old. After today, this
I
team
said
is
this
here.
is the what do you mean? The Guardians?
Yeah, they're as much as they haven't looked good because they've been playing sloppy baseball. That's not the team that got to that they're not a sloppy baseball team.
The Yankees haven't been playing clean baseball either.
I know
what you saw up until
do the small things, do them right, get a bunch of base hits, run the bases. That's what this team is.
That's what they were in the regular
season. And then all of a
season.
sudden they pulled out, the hammer a few times today.
Well, what you saw
wasn't expected.
Up until the 8th inning when the Yankees rallied and got those runs, not even a rally, just Judge and Stanton hitting home runs. What you saw, the Yankees bats were shut down. When they were not gifted opportunities and gifted runs, they didn't score.
Right. Definitely. And that's a huge problem. It's a huge problem.
This team continues to struggle with runners in scoring positions, struggles to execute. I mean, first inning, again, they got 2 runners on the first inning. I know there were 2 outs when those 2 runners were on, but still, inability to get just a single base hit early in games.
Well, they did though, but that's the thing. Like Trevino did that. They just can't. There are moments where they're not able to do that. But they were shut down for what, 13 in a row. It's not even the runners in scoring position wasn't even the big issue today. It was the fact that they did nothing in between, in the middle, and
third to
the
6th.
They allowed again this team to hang around, and that's what I said from 2 games ago. You let this team hang around into the middle innings, and I know this game was weird because of all the dynamic hits that happened at the end. So that threw everything off. Like no one saw that coming. But if this team is around in the middle innings, they have the bullpen to be able to stick around and shut you down. Obviously, Judge changed that today, which I'm so happy that he did that because, they lost the game. There's still an opportunity for them to come back. And it's a big risk tomorrow with Heel. He hasn't pitched in like a month. So the Guardians are in a good spot. But the fact that Judge came through in that massive moment was just huge, I think, for him, for the team, for just the feeling of him in the postseason. I think that was just a massive moment. And unfortunately, they couldn't close the game out.
Kevin in the chat says Yankees are 3 for 25 with runners in scoring position in the ALCS, straining 23 runners. So
1 for 8 tonight.
1 for 8 tonight.
So tonight it
felt better, but
it hasn't been as egregious as it was, but they got the runs late. Again, like they got the runs late.
On home runs.
And again, in the middle, but in the middle, they did nothing. They were how many in a row? 13 in a row?
13 in a row. Yeah, I mean, the offense, I mean, I guess you could say you're going to get that in postseason baseball, but this offense has really been not doing much the entire postseason. It's been masked with gift runs and gift opportunities.
Yeah, I know. And that's something that we've been talking about after every single game because it's a concern. Because if you're not gifted those runs, you actually have to come through in the moments. And while there were moments, again, Trevino, big hit, came through. He hasn't played in such a long time.
He got a big hit and then gets picked off first base.
The base running rears its ugly head yet
and
again.
Volpe, what was he doing? I know he was safe, but what the hell is he doing? Did he think the ball went to right field?
He must have, because he looked back. As he turned, it looked like
the only explanation is he thought that ball went to right field.
Or the guy, or he bobbled it or something. I don't know what he saw, but he definitely did not think that it was fielded cleanly because he just kept running and the ball was right there.
You say my narrative. I wasn't even talking about that. My whole thing about how the Yankees have not played good opponents, so they're just going to win the ALCS because the other team's going to lose it. I still think
the narrative.
That's the narrative I've been saying. what I was saying though tonight, don't you agree? This has been the first game that they've played in this postseason that's really felt like that emotion.
Yeah, there was juice tonight. There's no doubt about it. Like tonight,
the other games have almost felt like bastardized versions of playoff games. Like obviously, there's been moments, there's been lead swings in that first game against Kansas City. Then you had that last game against Kansas City with Cole getting that big out at the end to the wall. Like there's been blips, but like this one is one of these classic playoff moments that goes down, that you see highlights of for years to come with Judge and Stanton counter punch by the Guardians. Like this is one of those games that you remember. And now unfortunately for the Yankees, you remember poorly because of how it ended.
Yeah, well, and it's also because you had a bunch of lead changes at the end in big moments when the
by
game was on the
superstars,
line.
Home runs by Stanton and Judge, like those were superstar moments.
The superstars on the Cleveland Guardians did not hit home runs. Okay,
I said Stanton and Judge.
I know, but there were two other home runs that trumped those and ended up winning the game.
Fry's kind of been a superstar for the Guardians this postseason. He's had some big home runs.
And Noel, the rookie who just looks like a hoss.
That dude looks like he's going to win a home run derby at some point in his career.
Yeah, if he's ever allowed to enter in the home run derby, he might win one.
Don't you not have to be an all-star anymore to do it?
You don't. You don't have to be an all-star, but you have to be.
Just invite hosses.
But yeah, that was, and then, I got some questions. I got some questions for Boone too. Unless Rizzo wasn't feeling great, which that's not, it can't be true because he came in the game.
Spent.
But he came in the game. Like
lefty matchup. It was pure lefty matchup.
I get that. But he was one of the best looking hitters out there that we've seen in the first two games. He was squaring up everything. In theory, the better defender, although he made two errors when he came into the game. So not playing him. John Birdie's not like the bat against. And again, we said this last time. You're making decisions in the lineup to face a team that doesn't go deep with their starters normally. But today, Boyd did go and was able to shut them
Boyd
down.
Go
I don't know.
5?
He went 5. I want my best hitters in there, and especially the guy that has looked extremely good since coming back. I don't know why we're not playing him. There were a couple other moments. Tim Meza. Why is Tim Meza pitching in this game? In that moment, I understand that Ian Hamilton got hurt and someone had to come in.
But you have all the time to warm up whoever you
want.
All
the time. Bring in Canely. Canely was the next guy to come in. And for some reason, Boone, someone tweeted this after I was bitching about it a little bit, and they're not wrong. And Boone's probably saying this right now into a microphone about, well, I didn't want one of my main guys to warm up too quickly and get injured. Some stupid thing like that where they're bringing in like the sacrificial lamb of Tim Meza in a 1-run game.
Yeah, in a 1-run game at that point it was the 6th inning, right?
Yeah. So it's like I'm looking. It might have been it was the 5th inning because no, it was the 5th. It was the 6th inning.
It was the 6th inning because Hale finished the 5th.
Yeah. So I don't even know why he's in that
Brian
game.
says why not?
He's
Stroman
the last
over,
one out of the. He's the last one out.
He says why not Stroman over Meza? No, it's Canely over Meza. Canely's. I don't want
Stroman in the game at that point either.
No, tell Canely, dude, take all the time you want. You want to throw 50 warm-up pitches, throw 50 warm-up pitches. But you're not going to Tim Meza in a 1-run playoff game. That's asinine.
If everybody is available out of your bullpen, you throw your best guys in a 2-1 game. It's a 2-1 game. Yes. You have the New York Yankees with a ridiculous payroll of guys who can hit home runs. Of course, you keep that score at 2, and you just have confidence that your guys are going to come back and win that game. You don't throw Tim Meza, and I know Tim Meza
Cousins too.
Tim Meza only ended up giving up the 1 run, but
Jake Cousins has only pitched once in the playoffs, right?
Playoffs, yeah.
Once in the playoffs. He's obviously not healthy. Because
he's not on the roster. Then?
I don't know.
If he's not healthy, he's not.
Then
on
the why hasn't he sniffed the mound since that one game against Kansas City when he looked terrible? By the way, because at the end of the year,
they had an opportunity to make a decision to pull him off a roster if they wanted to.
I know, but at the end of the year, before he got injured, he was probably the 3rd highest leverage guy. Right?
Well, they were
was
like
up there.
splitting like the 8th inning with him and Canely, like depending on the matchup.
So
Like he was
I,
like
I
7 or
think
8.
at
Yeah.
that point he was ahead of Holmes because Holmes had just
he was
gotten
absolutely ahead
Holmes
of
had gotten pulled out of his closer role, and he still blew like 2 more games. So Cousins was probably after Canely in the leverage order, and now he can't sniff the mound. I have to imagine it's because he's not 100%, and they just don't have a better option. They don't have a better option. They're like, oh, I guess if we need an emergency, Jake Cousins at 75% is better than freaking calling up
you can't.
Will Warren.
This is pure speculation. You cannot.
It's pure speculation.
I know, but you can't have someone. It's like it's almost ridiculous speculation because you can't have someone who's not healthy in the postseason roster. You just can't. There's no way.
Boone
that's
is
happening.
also notorious for just managing by the scoreboard. Meaning, if you're down a run, he's going to manage one way, the same way if you're down 1 run or 10 runs. That's how he manages. He's like,
Yeah,
well,
but
we're down
think,
in the game, so we're going to go to Tim Meza.
But this instance was different because Ian Hamilton was in the game. Ian Hamilton gets hurt. It's like he knew that Canely was going to come in to do the next inning, so he had to get someone to finish this inning to get to Canely at that point. That's where I think the Boone binder came into play. I think that Canely was getting the next inning. Hamilton had this inning, and if Hamilton had gotten into trouble, maybe Canely was going to get 1 out of that inning. But because it didn't happen, and Hamilton got hurt, Meza. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So it's yes. And Kevin's talking about stealing outs. He's trying to get by. And he's done this all year, all his whole tenure. He's done this type of thing, but that was egregious in a 2-1 game. Like that can't happen. You got to bring in your best guys. And especially in a situation like that, like you have all the time in the world, they're allowed to warm up for whatever they need to. There was an injury.
Did he not know that rule that you have?
Of course he knew that rule. He just had in his mind that Canely was going to throw when Canely was going to throw. It's kind of saying what you were saying before, where it manages per the situation. The situation for him.
No, it's like he can't adapt. The plan was going to be Canely.
He did not adapt.
Canely was going to go the next inning. So he's like, well, Canely's the next inning. I can't bump him up because then how do I fill the other innings?
I can't compute.
It's like,
I don't know how to do it.
Figure that out when you get there. Don't go down another run. That's the whole point.
At that point, the only thing you're thinking about is maintain the 1-run deficit. And if you're thinking the best way for me to maintain this deficit at only 1 run, Tim Meza does not enter your brain. Straight up. Like that's it.
Yeah. I'm with you. Obviously a bunch more to talk about, but first tonight we're brought to you by Factor Meals. Sweater weather pairs perfectly with savory fall foods, but sometimes it's hard to make those delicious meals because grocery shopping and cooking takes a lot of time. That's where Factor Meals comes in to save the day. With Factor, you get no prep, no mess meals delivered right to you. You can also stick to your wellness goals because their meals are nutritious and dietitian approved. The Factor process is very easy. You just go on their website and choose from over 35 delicious meals each week. You can customize your deliveries with 60 different add-ons. Highly skilled chefs prepare your food and it's delivered right to you. Heating the meals up takes just 2 minutes, and then the best part, there's no mess or anything to clean up. All the Factor meals are fresh and never frozen, with options from breakfast all the way to dessert and everything in between. And if you're looking for those fall foods, my personal favorite I've mentioned a million times is the chorizo chili. That is the perfect fall dish. We've got a great offer for you. Head to factormeals.com/Bronx50 and use code Bronx50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month after that at factormeals.com/Bronx50. We are also brought to you by Babbel. Before you know it, the holidays are going to be here. And with that comes New Year's resolutions that we all make but never stick to. If learning a new language is on your resolutions list this coming year, Babbel can help you achieve it. Babbel gets you talking in another language because their courses are designed by real people for real conversations. Lessons are quick, just 10 minutes long, so you don't get overwhelmed with information. The courses are handcrafted by over 200 language experts, ready to get you talking your new language in as little as 3 weeks. And if you need more proof that Babbel gets you talking, studies from Yale, Michigan State University, and other leading universities continue to prove that Babbel works. One study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is the equivalent to a full semester at college. With over over 16 million subscriptions sold, Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by a 20-day money-back guarantee, so there's no pressure if you want to try it out. Special deal for our listeners. You can get 60% off your Babbel subscription at babbel.com/Bronx. Right now, 60% off at babbel.com/Bronx, spelled BABBEL.com/Bronx. Rules and restrictions may apply. Do you, I mean, is a part of this just like, the bullpen was probably going to blow one eventually? Like the bullpen had been elite this postseason, not a blip on the radar. They gave up no earned runs. The only runs they gave up were inherited runners. And I believe one time in the first game against Kansas City, they gave up an unearned run because of Volpe's error. So this bullpen had been freaking unbelievable.
I think when you, every single night, you go 4 innings with your starter, into the fifth inning,
you're bound to get bit eventually.
You're bound to get bit because you have to be perfect for the rest of those 4 to 5 innings. And that happened with Cleveland. That it's going to happen with any team in the playoffs. If you rely on your bullpen that heavily for an extended period of time, guys are going to get fatigued, moments are going to catch up to them, and things are going to happen. So, yeah, eventually that's going to happen. Did I expect a 2-run shot with 2 outs from I keep wanting to say Jeff Weaver, from Luke Weaver? No, I did not. I did not expect
Jeff Weaver.
I did not expect a rookie to pop in, pinch hit, and hit a game-tying home run. No, I did not expect that. I did not expect that at all. I thought he was going to strike out. And I thought the game was going to be over and the Yankees were going to be up 3-0. That's what I thought was going to happen. But yes, if we're talking about how are you susceptible late in games, keep throwing your relief pitchers every single day and not getting any length at all. And to his credit, I thought Clark Schmidt looked okay today. I thought he could have gotten through. But here's the thing. They're not going to let him. They're not going to let him go through. He could have been, perfect, and he probably would have been pulled after the 5th inning anyway. So, when you don't even give you the opportunity for your starting pitchers to get deep into the game, unless your name is Garrett Cole and he couldn't do it.
Well, like you saw in Game 1, Rodon go 6 because he was so efficient and so dominant. So unless it's literally perfect, they're not going to stretch it with any starter.
And then when you have Garrett Cole, who is the only guy that you will allow to go
last
deeper,
time he can't even get through the 5th.
When he doesn't give you length, then your bullpen's at a very big disadvantage because of the amount of pitches that they have thrown. So yeah. It's a tough one. But yeah, give the flowers to the Guardians for not rolling over. Gritty says, yeah, for sure. They came out and they stayed with it and they got guys on base. And they took advantage of their opportunities, no doubt about it. That was a ridiculous game for them because they were dead.
Especially after that double play in the 9th inning. They get the leadoff guy on by the error, and then they get the double play. I mean, that is such a rollover moment, and they didn't.
100%. They had an opportunity to fall on the sword at that point, and they did.
Especially because their closer, who gave up the home run in the ALDS, but their closer, like they'd been begging to get the ball to Class A with a lead, and then that didn't even work out for them. So as much as we're sitting here being like, Yankees are in a tough spot, all the momentum's back with the Guardians. It is, but at the same time, the Guardians bullpen, which was supposedly untouchable, has not been untouchable.
No, what's his name? The guy who came in first.
Gaddis?
No.
Cade Smith.
Cade Smith is filthy.
Yeah,
he's their best reliever.
They're all filthy.
No, but he's shut the Yankees out. He had the fastest inning. He just dominated the Yankees
10
when he
pitches,
walked into
10
that game.
strikes.
Yeah.
It was,
he didn't throw a ball.
Didn't the Yankees score off of him in Game 2?
I don't think they scored off of him.
They did not score off of him. They scored off of Gaddis. The home run was hit off of Gaddis, but they did not score off of.
Okay, fine. So if Cade Smith can pitch, 3 innings tomorrow, then they'll be fine.
No, but you're also not going to expect those guys to get hit every single time. They are very
hit
good.
every single time, but you have to be fair and say the same problem that the Yankees are seeing with the bullpen, where you ask to get
the
so
talent
many
on the
innings.
other side is significantly better.
But my point is, we've seen the Guardians bullpen. Somebody gives up runs. Tonight it was Class A. Somebody gives up runs because they're pitching so much. When they're also relied on, they came in the second
Class A
inning.
hasn't thrown since the Detroit series, though, so that wasn't part of the problem.
My whole point is that even though the Guardians won this game, it's not like they just won it where they had a complete game shutout and everyone's rested. Like they needed to spend resources. Now, obviously, it's worth it. They won the game. All I'm saying is, if you're the Yankees, you can at least take something to the next day where it's like, we got to Class A, which didn't seem possible. We've gotten to Gaddis in the previous game, which didn't seem possible. Okay, so it's like they have been able to score off of this bullpen, which everyone was saying you can't do, and they've done it two games in a row
for sure. That they've
and it's gonna come. I think it's gonna come down.
Three of the horsemen have been hit.
Yeah, there's been one horseman that's been really good. So, Luis Hill hasn't pitched. Logan? Can you literally look up when the last time Luis Hill pitched versus Gavin Williams? Gavin Williams, the Yankees faced him back in August. He pitched 4 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs. He gave up a home run to Aaron Judge. He walked 4. The Yankees, it's going to come down to, they're going to have to out-hit the Guardians, especially in Game 4, but probably in Game 5 as well. The Yankees are going to have to start hitting. If they don't start hitting, meaning they don't start cashing in on the opportunities that they have, then this is going to go back to New York, and you're going to have to just try and scrape wins at Yankee Stadium. Because they had opportunities again early in this game. Trevino came through with the single, but they had the opportunity in the first inning as well. They've had opportunities every single playoff game in the first inning. Just get a base hit, and it's a completely different ball game. It takes the tension out of everything if you score a couple of first inning runs, which they've had opportunities to do. So this is going to come down to, in Game 4, can the Yankees hit, and can they cash in on their opportunities?
And Gavin Williams is not good. The Yankees should absolutely rip him apart tomorrow. They should. He's not going to be. I got to assume he's going to have an extremely short leash.
Like, he legitimately could pitch 1 inning and that's it.
Yeah. Which again, they're fighting with the way that their pitching staff is and the way that he's managing. It's like they're going game to game, throwing as much the kitchen sink at you if they need to, and then they'll figure it out the next time. That's just what's happening. But the Yankees, they need to hit, and they need to hit early, and they need to hit often, and they need to take advantage of opportunities. And you know what? They need to hit the ball to the goddamn ballpark too.
Well, they did that tonight.
They finally did that. They finally did that, and that's when they scored runs.
Right.
Last time Luis Hill pitched September 28th, so I don't know what is
September 28th against Pittsburgh, right? That was it was a rainy game.
Rainy, bad start, 5 2/3, 6 hits, 6 runs. For what it's worth, he also faced Cleveland in that same series that you were just referring to in August. That was the game that he ended up leaving with the injury. He went 3 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, 6 walks, 3 strikeouts.
That's what worries me.
Like 100 pitches in 3 innings.
76.
This is what worries me the most tomorrow, is that this is a patient team. This is a team that we, coming into this, didn't strike out a lot. And I know that Rodon kind of changed that a little bit and was able to get swing and miss from these guys. But Luis Hill needs to be in the strike zone early in the count. And if he's not leading, if he's not going 0-1 or 1-1 and just like getting in there and making sure that he's throwing strikes, if he starts falling behind, it's going to be a long day for him, a short day for him, a long day for the Yankees.
Well, I think
it's going to be a problem. If he can't throw strikes, it's going to be a problem. They're not going to stretch the zone. They're not going to.
If you see him have to grind through the order the first time, even if he doesn't give up runs, he's probably not going to get to go through the order a second time, and they're probably going to go to Stroman.
I don't know about that, because Luis Hill, if he is untouched, if he gets through even with some a little bit of pitch count, he's the type of guy that, again, if like he gets ahead in the count, no matter what, like the fastball is dynamic enough that he can be fine. But if he has control issues, then it's a problem.
That's what I mean by grind through. If he's walked 2 or 3 guys,
if he's walking people, it's gonna be he's not gonna be in the game
because like how many times did we see this season him have 1 or 2 base runners every inning but not get beat because he doesn't give up a ton of hits like that. So that's what I'm saying is if he's given up a lot of base runners because he's wild first time through the order, I could see them not even messing with it second time through the order and just going to Stroman. Now that should scare you as well because Stroman can't miss bats, but he's the only guy that can give them length.
The thing with Heel is like if you get through the first round of the lineup, the second time through, it's not like you're getting
really
a major
just the
advantage
first
of
inning.
that.
It's really just the first inning with Hill.
He can settle in and again like his walks come in at moments where it's not consistent. Like he doesn't. You're giving up hits. Other people are giving up hits. He's giving up walks. Like
the thing is, he could strike out.
If he's clean through one time through, he should absolutely get the second time through and then be on a shorter leash. But he should absolutely get the second time through because he could mow them all down.
Yeah, he could strike out 10 through 5 innings, or he could walk 5 through an inning and a third tomorrow. It's anything in between those.
But that's the thing. If he walks 4 in an inning and a third, he could then mow people down right after that.
If he walks 4 in an inning and a third, he's not getting past that next batter. They're not going to let him. They're going to have a very short leash with him.
It depends on how and where the walks come. But yes, it does because he does that. He works around the walks with strikeouts if he's able to do that. But the problem is I'm not even as concerned about just the walks in general, but just his control period because they're not going to swing and he's not going to get those opportunities. And then he's going to have to go over the plate with some of his secondary stuff if he can't control the fastball. Because if he's wild, that means he can't control the fastball. And if he's not jumping out with strike one with the fastball, he's relying on his secondary stuff. And I think they're going to pounce on that. It's going to be a problem.
So
he needs to come out and fastball needs to be over the plate.
So how many did Weaver throw tonight? Because
I got him.
It doesn't matter. He's not. I say he's not
20
tomorrow.
As I was going to say, he's not. It's only 20 pitches, but he's probably not pitching game 4, right?
And I mean, I don't know. Let me get you guys' take on this. Today was the first day that all these guys had probably thrown 3 out of 4. They don't do that during the regular season.
Right.
Do you think that it's like, again, it's like when they used to do the thing where they just would like extend guys like in the playoffs and be like, Chapman, go give us 2 1/3 innings. We'd be like, he's never done that.
You have
do you
to.
Think
I
that
mean, yes, you have to because you don't have an off day between 4 and 5. And if you lose game 4, I know Weaver might not be available, but like, you can't just be like, we're going to get him in game 5 because then if you're 2-2 in the series, that's really dangerous. So you gotta, unless you're getting crushed tomorrow night after 2 innings, you kind of got to just still throw the kitchen sink at it.
Well, Holmes only threw 8 pitches, so you'd assume that he's probably the only high leverage guy available.
Canely threw 26 in an inning and 2/3.
Probably not available.
No, see, I would say Canely's probably available, but the only reason Weaver's not is because he blew the save and how it ended, and they're probably just going to give him a breather. But I would say Canely's available. And who knows? I mean, Ian Hamilton, obviously, he came out with an injury, so he might be pulled off the roster.
Can they replace him immediately?
Yes.
They can. They'll lose him, though, for the rest of the playoffs.
Right. If you can replace a guy on the roster, but yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know who you're replacing him with.
A warm body.
That doesn't have the name Leiter, but
right.
I'm afraid that the warm body gets in the game because that's what happened today.
It's amazing.
In a 1-run game. Yeah. But we'll see, man. There's a lot of pressure on Luis Hill tomorrow, I think. I think
there's pressure on the Yankees offense. I think the
is
pressure is squarely on the Yankees offense to now carry this team. Okay? It's been the pitching and the bullpen carrying this team in the playoffs so far. Offense, you have 10 times the talent in your lineup than the Guardians. Go out, hit them.
Until the offense scores runs, all of the pressure is on Luis Hill because he would be not pitching with a lead. And if he is not pitching with a lead, he needs to be around the strike zone.
Let's also acknowledge, I mean, Torres has been fantastic this postseason. Soto was on base once tonight. Otherwise, he didn't do anything, but you can't complain about him. Obviously, Judge with the big home run tonight. Stanton's been awesome. Jazz has not shown up at all.
He got a hit tonight, but that was it. Yeah.
But you know what I mean. He has not shown up this postseason. And he was talking again before this game.
Yeah, I know. The offense needs to wake up for sure.
Volpe's looked pretty good. Verdugo, you can't ask for anything more out of him. So it's not like they're getting no shows up and down the lineup. I went down the lineup and really I only mentioned Jazz as the one guy who's done absolutely nothing. Wells has done nothing as well. I swear Wells is swinging like a weighted bat. Doesn't his swing look so damn slow and long?
Well, it does when you're chasing high fastballs and you can't hit high fastballs. Yeah, it looks even worse.
But
in that moment, by the way, that's another second guess for me is that if you're going to use Dominguez off the bench just to run for Stanton, like, I know he would get the at bat then if it came back around for him, but I think that's a great opportunity. Wells has not done shit. He hasn't done anything in a month plus. That would have been an opportunity for at least Dominguez to get an at bat in a situation.
You're saying pinch hit for Trevino with Dominguez, and then you just put Wells in for defense. Yeah.
Yes, because you're not going to put Dominguez is either going to run for Stanton and then hit in the DH spot, or he's not getting in the game unless you burn him as a pinch hitter. That's the only thing.
I also don't love
because they're not going to play defense.
I also don't love pinch hitting for him in that spot for Stanton. If Stanton had a double, fine, because then you score on a pinch running for Stanton in that spot. Like if Stanton's in scoring position, fine, but like just on first base, like that means you're only looking for a double in the gap.
I have no problem with running for him at that point. You need, if something happens, it's late in the game. You need that person to be able to run.
I don't know.
Because if a double had been in the gap and they didn't run for him and he was stuck on third,
I guess
killing Boone.
Yeah, I guess, but like at the
you
same
have
time,
to run for him. Of course, you run for him in that moment because then at least you have some type of hope with Dominguez at the plate still. Yeah,
all
but tomorrow's a big.
But I mean, that's the whole point. You have the expanded bench exactly for situations where you don't need to just do 1-for-1 pinch hitting substitutions. You can burn a player.
Yeah, but he's there for that exact reason.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
The only reason he's there is to hit.
I'm agreeing with you because then you could have, and then you're like, well, who would have pinch run for Stanton in the extra innings? Oswaldo Cabrera.
Sure.
Right.
Give me a quick history lesson, guys. Apparently, the Yankees in 2009 went up 2-0 and then blew the game in extra innings. Game 3
in Anaheim.
In Anaheim, I looked it up. They were losing in the 8th. Posada hit a home run to tie it. And then they lost in the 11th. And then they came out.
I honestly don't remember that. I know A-Rod came out the next day and hit like a huge throw and home run.
Do you know why you don't remember it? Because it was at 1:00 in the afternoon.
Well, I know they won game 2 in extra innings against Anaheim. I didn't realize they lost game. I didn't realize they lost game 3 in extra innings.
Yeah, 5.
But if we're comparing, I don't know that we can compare this team. That team was full of champions.
What do you mean?
I'm not comparing any team to the team we have right now. It's impossible to do that. It's unfair to do that. It means nothing. I don't remember that either. I was drunk.
So yes, Logan. They could absolutely come back and just mop the floor with Cleveland tomorrow.
If they win 10-1 tomorrow, that would be good. Oh, somebody in the chat just said 2017 ALDS. That would be game 2. Guardians walked it off. They came back.
I remember that game.
That I remember.
That game.
That's 17.
Do you remember what happened in that game too? Remember Chad Green
hit the knob of the bat.
Yeah, and Girardi did not challenge it.
That lost him his job because he didn't listen to Sanchez.
His job was already gone.
His job was already gone. But I remember doing a podcast the next day saying you have to fire Joe Girardi because he didn't challenge the play.
Yeah, and then 2022, Clark Schmidt came in to try and bail Clay Holmes out, I think. He came in to try to get the save in Cleveland. They ended up winning the next day. Cole came out and shoved. Game 4. Game 3, do you remember that? We recorded after that and went live. They were winning. Judge hit a home run early in that game.
Garrett Cole ain't showing up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Luis Gil's showing up tomorrow, who played Garrett Cole really, really well early in the year. So he needs to do it again. And not the Cole that we just saw, but the The Cole from Houston.
Listen, I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like that this is not a big loss. It's a very big loss. I'm squarely putting the responsibility tomorrow on the offense. I need to see the offense show up because this team has too much offensive talent to just continue to not show up in the postseason.
Yeah, I agree. And they gotta come out with some fire, man. Like this one's really. I know that Cleveland has the momentum right now just because they did come back, but the Yankees almost stole this game in a big way.
That's what I'm saying.
And you could look back at that with a little bit of chip on your shoulder, like this was our game to steal, and we need to go out there and whoop some ass right now. So and just like get fired up from this thing. It's going to fire up both teams, no doubt.
Here's another little history lesson, and I've talked about this on podcasts before. The 2000 World Series, the Yankees lost. So game 2 against the Mets, the Yankees had a 5-0 lead, and Mariano Rivera gave up 4 runs in the 9th inning against the Mets. The Yankees still hung on to win. Game 3, the Yankees had Orlando Hernandez El Duque going, who I believe to that point in his postseason career had never lost a game. The Mets got to him and beat El Duque. So you're now sitting there 2-1 in the series with the Mets having all the momentum. The first pitch of game 4, Derek Jeter hit a home run and literally crushed the hopes and dreams of the Mets. Now, I'm not saying a solo home run from Gleyber Torres is going to do that tomorrow, but the offense can do that tomorrow by just coming out and scoring a bunch of runs. They have the ability to do it. They've had opportunities early in games in this postseason. If you come out and have opportunity in the first inning in game 1, in the first inning in game 4 tomorrow, and you score 3 runs, who gives a shit what happened the night before? You have the control to go up 3-1 in a series, and that's what needs to happen.
You're right, because if they're able to pounce early, get some runs early, not only do they put some runs on the board, get the confidence going of the offense, but now you're giving the ability to Luis Gil to take a breath, not have to be perfect, because when he doesn't feel that he has to be perfect and he's just rearing back and throwing that fastball and it's got that natural cut action, he's filthy. He's extremely difficult. And if you're a Cleveland team who's pressing and has to score runs, then that is when Luis Gil becomes even more effective, because they do have to expand the zone a little bit more. So if you put them in a situation where Luis Gil is able to go out there and just rear back and throw that fastball, get ahead, and they're going to have to chase because they got to be more aggressive with him, then it could be a very different game, and you could see Luis Gil, going 5-6 innings at that point. But yes, right. Early runs are the medicine here. Yeah, no doubt about it.
All right, we'll talk to you guys again after Game 4 tomorrow night. We'll see you then.